My name's Sarah Briley and I'm the Walk on the Wildside project coordinator. I work for Groundwork Greater Nottingham.
I'm Dave Brennan, I'm Chief Executive of Castle Cavendish. We're a local regeneration charity that invests in the area of Radford and Ice and Green. We managed and coordinated the WOW project alongside Groundwork Greater Nottingham and Wild Things.
I'm Andrew. I was a volunteer for WOW for about 15 months.
My name's Helen Rigby. I actually run the Time Bank, which is an organisation that recruits lots of volunteers from the local area.
My name's Brian Mallows. I'm ex-head teacher of Berries Junior School.
The Walk on the Wildside project, or the WOW project, has been all about giving people in Radford and Ice and Green the opportunity to visit different parks and nature reserves in Nottingham. The project started in January 2010, and since then we've worked with over 23 different community groups and 6 local schools. We've also engaged over 240 different people in volunteering activities.
Castle Cavendish is a local regeneration charity, and we invest in a whole range of types of projects, and the WOW project is just one of them that we've part funded over the last 3 years. It's actually been a resounding success.
It's given individuals the experience of being outside, whatever the weather. Sometimes it's not been that great, but you know, they've enjoyed it anyway. But all the members have benefited from doing a bit of training in how to organise trips. So they've gone to the WOW offices and they've learned how to look at bus timetables, you know, plan a journey, plan a day out.
I started volunteering with WOW to use my education and the skills I developed and really to develop them in a forward-thinking organisation and improve my job prospects.
When I first started teaching at Berries Junior School, I was very much aware that this was an inner city school totally surrounded by houses without any green space whatsoever. My feeling as a head teacher was that I've got to break down the barriers of these walls that surround this school, and I've got to enable children to get out there and see what else is in the environment, both locally and a bit further afield. And in fact, for me, the WOW project was certainly one way of doing that.
Through the project, it's been a real surprise to come across children who haven't actually experienced nature firsthand. So they're so used to growing up and living in the city.
The sorts of things that people have learned as a result of going out on the WOW trips, things like, well, they've often involved rangers when they've gone out. I think when they went to Sherwood Forest, they had a ranger who took them around. So obviously was very knowledgeable about the tree, you know, the varieties of trees, those kind of things. I think as well, just using public transport to get out and about, because I think you tend, if you live in the city, you might tend to know your own bus route into town or back home again. You wouldn't explore any others.
In Bestwood Country Park, I had no idea that it was such a big area and you really don't feel like you're in Nottingham. I really enjoy being out in the countryside. It's a change from sort of just, you know, being in the city, you know, going to work.
We've actually seen quite a lot in terms of confidence and self-esteem being greatly improved and increased. And in terms of pupils, there's been a knock-on effect in terms of their attendance and attainment at school.
I noticed a fantastic improvement in their confidence levels, their love of nature. And I'll give you an example. If you see something flying in the sky, yes, it could be an aeroplane, but a bird, yeah, but what sort of bird? And so they were able to start telling me, well, actually, I saw a blackbird, or that's a robin, or that's a sparrow.
As a result of the project, all the people we've worked with are really interested now in being outside. They're really enthusiastic about wildlife and they're really keen to explore new places. Another really big positive outcome of the project has been that people are now confident enough to go out and find places for themselves. For some of the volunteers within the community groups, they've actually taken that a step further and now they're actually confident enough to plan and deliver trips for the entire group. So they've really learnt a lot of skills through the project.
We've worked with several groups. There were schools there, there were groups of older people, I think it was the Rotary Club, quite a cross-section of the Nottingham community.
When it came to parents' evenings and you talked to the parents about, well, how did they get on at Forest School? Did they talk to you about it? and the parents would say, oh yeah, they absolutely loved it. They went for 9 weeks. They wish they were going now. They'd like to go for even more time if they could. And sometimes a parent would say, I'm determined that I'm going to take this further forward. I'm going to take them out into the countryside now.
The WOW project has wanted to leave people with skills as well. They've not just come in and organised trips and then see you later. It's been very much about developing the skills of the individual volunteers to get out themselves in the future, but also they've developed skills in people in terms of being able to lead trips. And I feel like that they've left the skills exchange members who've been there with the ability to go out on their own.
What we've tried to instill in these communities is to actually build it on themselves and for them to actually go out and to enjoy the countryside and benefit from the countryside, use the transport system and use the local country parks much more and in a sense remove themselves from that very intense urban setting.
When members of the community get involved with the conservation, it's good because it connects the conservation area, the park, to the community. So it helps people take a pride in the area.
At the moment we don't have any funding to continue the project. So although we've done a lot of good work and made a lot of impact on the local community, we currently don't have any funds to sustain this work.
From my perspective, children can gain so much by going out into their environment, and this can actually supplement their learning within the classroom and have a positive impact on outcomes. We've been very fortunate over the last few years to have funding that's enabled this to happen. But sadly, and I don't know whether this is endemic within society, a lot of the good things that start, suddenly the funding is taken away and you have to go back to your own resources. So over the last few weeks we've been trying to persuade some head teachers perhaps to continue a service which was already provided.
We want to look at drawing down any kind of external funding support for this, and I also know that some of the schools are quite keen themselves to contribute and to ensure that a lot of these activities continue going forward in the future. Hopefully this DVD will actually demonstrate to people that it has been a success and a lot of the things within the project should be carried forward in the future, and you know, we're able to pull all our resources together so that, you know, the learning experience and the achievements from this project are not lost, and we build on it for the future.